How's it going, guys, and welcome back to BL3's Forgotten. This is where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered within the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we are taking a look at the Brad Luck. If you'd like to get the Brad Luck for yourself, you're going to have to make your way up into the 4th story mission of the Handsome Jackpot DLC. And upon helping the mayor save Trash Atlantis, you will be awarded with the Brad Luck. The Brad Luck is a unique blue-rarity COV assault rifle, only rolling in cryo damage and having completely locked parts, though it is able to come anointed. When using the Brad Luck, it will just randomly swap between various bonuses, swapping between cryo or corrosive damage, and having varied fire rates from -50%, -25%, 0%, or +50%. Now immediately, I'm sure some of you can see a bit of an issue with the Brad Luck. Again, you've got your -50% fire rate, your -25%, your neutral fire rate, and then a +50%, along with randomly swapping from cryo to corrosive. This means a lot of the time, you're actually getting a nerf. Like, just straight up, there's more bad options that this thing can roll from than good. You have your neutral fire rate, but then you have 2 fire rates that are negative with only 1 being positive, and going from cryo to corrosive is definitely also not a great thing. Cryo is just a better element most of the time, not only because it's better utility in its effect, but it also gains a bit of bonus damage against armor while staying neutral on health bars, and there are far more health bars in the game than there are armor bars. Pretty much just due to the enemies in BL3, corrosive kind of isn't a great element, so we're gonna count that as another negative, meaning out of the 6 possible things that can be rolled from, 2 of them are neutral, 1 is a buff, and 3 of them are nerfs. Now this thing did actually surprise me a bit because it would sometimes almost just barely maybe deal a decent bit of damage on True Guardian Takedown, but that was only if it was max fire rate and cryo. The other 98% of the time, it was a struggle as Brad really wasn't shining on me. Seeing a unique blue-rarity weapon with 7,500 base damage though actually performing on True Guardian Takedown was quite the shock. But it wasn't all good because while the damage output is obviously better at those higher fire rates, of course that's at the cost of ammo consumption. But honestly, the bigger problem was the accuracy being pretty bad most of the time, but incredibly hard to manage at those higher fire rates. Especially when your build has a decent bit of fire rate in it already, those higher fire rates can actually be a bit more detrimental. With that being said though, it was able to perform decently well on True Molly 1 Takedown. All of those drawbacks were absolutely still present, but enough damage was being output to kill pretty damn decently without running out of ammo too quickly, which again was a pretty big surprise. But while it can pump out enough DPS to function in some areas, and surprisingly so, my biggest gripe of it still isn't solved, and that's simply due to it being baked into the core design of this weapon. It is wildly inconsistent, and again, it has better odds to nerf the weapon itself than it does to actually buff it. And even when it does buff it, that comes with a whole set of drawbacks on its own. So it will have these moments where it actually feels pretty good and actually kind of fun to use, only for you to be Bautista bombed straight into the fucking pavement as it rolls the absolute worst shit imaginable. It can be somewhat counteracted by having your own fire rate bonuses and increased accuracy, but even then, I'd still just always rather have a gun that has consistent damage output and feels consistent to use. I mean, hell, I'd even take just somewhat consistent on those fronts. As long as the gun at its worst is still decent, then it would be fine. But at its worst, it's like Michael Richards at the Laugh Factory on November 17th, 2006. Overall, the Brad Luck is a bit of a surprise that it can actually have its moments even at some of the tougher content in the game, but it is a wildly inconsistent weapon that has better odds of nerfing itself than actually buffing itself. And for a gun where you have absolutely no control when it swaps those bonuses, it's pretty annoying to use and not really something I'd recommend. But that's gonna about do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Down in the description will be a link to my Twitch channel where you can follow to be notified of when I go live, and just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.